What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. And today's a bittersweet day. We're getting some more Iron Man, unfortunately. This will be the final issue in the series. Iron Man's final tie-in to One World Under Doom. We pick up with the Insurgent Iron Man, and Vishti has just done the unthinkable. He just killed hundreds of people in Latveria. He says that he killed all of them to save Tony, to save Latveria. He tells Tony Stark that this is what victory looks like. And he will fully admit that this is horrible, that this is something we should never grow accustomed to. It is not something that fills him with pride. But now, real victory is at hand. This is where we see Vishti really take on Ironmonger in its full form. Ironmonger with a little bit of magic added to it. Unintentionally recreating the Ironmonger, bringing it back into life, bringing back an enemy, doing it with the best of intentions. But as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. At this point, most of Doom's army's gone. Vishti did a rather significant job. The only problem is the loss of innocent life. In his eyes, this is what Tony wanted. This is what they talked about. Lives were gonna have to be sacrificed. Because honestly, people were gonna die regardless. When the Latverian Patriotic Front was gonna use his missiles for the long war against Doom, many innocent lives were gonna be lost. You could even argue that more Latverian lives would die there than they did today. And when the cavalry charges in, we see him essentially melt the knife that she throws at him. And Vishti's in rather disbelief. You got the cavalry, you got Black Widow, you got Tony Stark. You three sit here and you try to judge me. You question my methods after all the innocent lives that you guys have taken. And let's not even get started on the Winter Soldier. But the corrupting phones, that wasn't really the point of all of this. What mattered was getting the undetectable Ironmonger magic onto Doom servers, routing the magic to the army units working with the LPF. The energy drains from the inside. His argument is that he was targeting soldiers, ones that were working for Doom, and before that collaborated with racist terror groups. But Bucky, he saw children burning. He saw the innocent lives lost. And that is because this virus that he spread, it spreads on contact with the infected unless it is stopped. And though he tried to stop it, he wasn't powerful enough to do so. And he swears that once this is over, once this is all done, he will turn himself over to the people of Latveria. But only once Doom is dead. He had no intention of trying to rule Latveria, but this is how they solve their Doom problem. They do it once and for all, that they can save the world. They can do it all this way. He really thought that this is what Tony wanted. Now at this point, Tony's heard enough. His helmet goes on, his sword is drawn out, and he's ready to fight. He tells Vishti that is the last time you're gonna tell me what I wanted, and now you're gonna come with us, you're gonna face justice, or I'm gonna cut you out of that armor. Now we see that Vishti, he doesn't want to fight, that he'll commit to accountability. He will face any justice that he needs to, but they have to kill Doom first. At this point, Bucky, he's heard enough. He's like, you're not listening. Whoever you are, whatever you think you're up to, you're not getting any options. Your victims didn't get any options, you're not getting any either. And so when he goes in to punch, the armor around him, it completely melts away. Vishti looks at him and he's like, the Winter Soldier. Of all people, the Winter Soldier is gonna tell me that I have blood on my hands. He says that if you oppose me, then you're saving Doom. But all they can see is a psychopath wizard whose melted face is hidden behind armor. All while he talks about ruling Latveria. Right now, he's looking a lot like Doom. When he goes to attack Bucky, that's when Iron Man jumps in, using his repulsor sword, blocking the magic, absorbing the magic. Now, this is where Tony's like, all right, I think I can see what you meant to do, but at this point, you gotta stop. I won't be able to save you. That's where Vishti says, I'm sorry. He's begging, he's pleading Iron Man, I don't want to fight you. I want to fight beside you. I want to take down Doom with you. And the others with Tony, they're a little confused on Tony Tony's methods. Like, what do you mean you're gonna save him? At this point, he's already too far gone. We're far past what you meant to do. But Iron Man also takes responsibility here. Vishti thought he was doing what Tony wanted. Tony is the one that set the tone for all of this. One that he should have realized would have led a desperate young man to thinking that anything was permissible when fighting against Doom. Not only that, he understands the magic that is coursing through the Ironmonger. Without that magic in his veins, he can see a lot more clearly. The darkness is great right now, but there is help on the other side of this. The first step is accepting responsibility. This is when we have a doorway open up. A portal to Limbo opens up and we have Belasco. It appears that Vishti, he cut a deal. Doom is Sorcerer Supreme. Vishti needed more power. This is why the Ironmonger isn't corrupting him, isn't destroying him. Belasco gave him the power he needed. The power to manipulate the Ironmonger magic. Belasco is working for the Dark Consortium. He is their broker, and they have been seeking a earthly partner with sufficient scale to import Soul Bomb. That is where Vishti comes in, proposing to make himself king in Latveria. They could get souls. Now Vishti tries to explain himself. Tony saw firsthand what Belasco's clients' magic can do, what their product does. It hollows someone out until they're living tinder. And this isn't about the size of a market. It isn't about how many souls they can get. It's about scale of assets claimed once the product clears way and their former stewards land. This is all about resources, all about influence. So Vishti didn't just kill all those people. He sold the survivors to a demonic version of private equity. That's when Tony pulls out his repulsor sword and he blasts Vishti. And we watch as the two battle across the realms of Limbo. Vishti swears that he was never gonna give the Nether Beings Latveria, that it was all just a leverage play. He just needed the power to take down the Sorcerer Supreme. And after that, he planned to take the power of the Sorcerer Supreme so that he could fight the Dark Consortium. As the two of them battle, we see Tony's armor slowly starting to chip away. And Tony tells him, like, your plan. You sit here and act like it's flawless, but if it doesn't go flawlessly, everyone in Latveria would die, and then the rest of the world would follow. He tells Tony that you have to stop, that I'm not gonna tell you again, don't make me take you down. But Tony tells him, like, you think you can kill Doom when not even Dormammu could take it down. You think that you can hold back the Dark Consortium. You couldn't even stop your spells from spreading to other people. As Tony's armor begins to melt apart, he tells Tony that for the first time, I finally saw someone with real power distributed. You gave me hope, Tony. You had principle, purpose, resources. You fused all this into a sword at the enemy's throat, only for you to turn around and save Doom. And so as you lie here in hell for eternity, I want you to reflect upon your mistakes. That even without the Ironmonger, you could have upgraded your armor. You could have withstood me. You could have fought beside me. He never wanted it to be this way. And as he goes to finish him off, Tony tells him, like, yeah, I didn't put much into my new armor. I put everything into the sword. With that sword absorbing every bit of that magical energy that he's hurling at Tony. Tony deflects it right back at him, and we see Vishti fall from the sky. And as they return, obviously, Belasco, he's pissed. This is the second time that Iron Man has come in and cost him business. But he tells him, like, if you really want to try something, Belasco, my repulse sword is more than enough charged to take you on. And it's charged up with your client's power. He tells Druid, like, talk some sense into Belasco before I start cutting out the middleman. This is where Druid connects Belasco to the clients. He takes the orb and he gets his orders. The last time that they met, he was able to convince the clients really of his influence. They do mean to do business with Iron Man, at least eventually. This partnership, it doesn't have to be consensual to flourish. That's the overall goal. They're gonna do something with Iron Man. They just don't know when. And as leverage, they're taking Vishti. This is the collateral. When the time comes, they're gonna come to Iron Man. They're gonna make a deal. And so if he wants Vishti back, he'll have to do the partnership. As Vishti disappears, he pretty much tells Iron Man, like, screw you, I'm gonna find a way to escape on my own, and once I do escape hell, the Ironmonger is coming to kill you. So with everybody going off in their own directions, Bucky really having enough of everything going on, Black Widow going off and doing her own thing, and Tony headed back to Stark Tower. Tony still has to deal with Doom. Now, he came to a meeting with Doom, on a little hologram, all that good stuff. And Doom's really letting him know, I'm not making a weapons deal with you. Per usual, Doom does his usual thing. You're a subject of Doom. You are what Doom says you are, yada, yada, yada. Really, it all comes down to Tony Stark's influence. He's one of the most powerful, influential figures in the status quo that he had ended. And so the other holdouts, they kind of look up to him and his allies. Wilson, Strange, Danvers, T'Challa, Richards, all of them. They all look up to Tony. He tells them that before you provoke me again, you better choose wisely. This means pretty much any weapons deal that was on the table for Tony, it's out the door now, which is kind of what he wanted already. So when Ramon shows up, they start discussing the new direction that they're going to take the company. They're going to start fabricating semiconductors. The Cavalry, she's still staying on board. And as we close out, the last thing that we get is a conversation between Black Widow and Tony Stark. She's really just coming to check on Tony. Things have been freaking crazy lately, and today has been an exceptionally hard day. And Tony, he admits, like, you were right, and I wouldn't listen to you. But Tony was angry. He was determined to stop an evil man who had conquered the world. She says that you can thank me by sticking to the plan that Maria Hill came up with. The one in One World Under Doom, issue number 6. And though his armor did get junked up, he still got the Silver Centurion. All of his other armors are soon going to be back online. So his improvised armor, it was short-lived. But the Repulse Sword, Tony thinks that he's gonna keep that one. And that is where this issue will end. The next time we're gonna see Tony Stark in anything that's headlining is gonna be Iron and Frost, part of the Age of Revelation 16-issue series. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Not a bad way to close it out. It does suck, ongoing series, they're just not long-lasting right now, and this is another reason that people like me, people like Blurred Without Fear, Ernie, all those guys, they tell you to go out and buy the comic, because if you are enjoying it, the numbers matter, guys. They're important. So if you're enjoying a comic, we cover these stories, but we're not giving you the full story. We're giving you the cliff notes. And so if there's a story, a comic in particular that you really love, go out there and start buying it. If you haven't already, go out and start supporting it. That's how we keep these ongoing series going. Because 10 issues for an Iron Man book is absolutely crazy considering it was supposed to be ongoing. And it's rather unfortunate for some writers because they don't get the opportunity to tell the full story that they wanted to tell. Like some of these stories, they get canceled. They have the potential to even be really great stories by the end, but they never get the chance to flush it out. And so they're having to rush. They're having to do this and do that. And then the story doesn't get the opportunity to truly live. And we saw that with this issue number 10, how they closed pretty much everything that was created in this 10 issues. They closed it out all except the sword. The sword was really the only thing that stuck around from this 10 issues of Tony Stark. His business before this was already headed in the direction of getting away from weapons. I guess the Cavalry added to his roster of allies is a new thing. I am excited to see what eventually happens and what becomes with Belasco. That seems to be a promising storyline, but you know how it goes. They get a new writer on here, and it could very easily just disappear into the mythos of Marvel. All in all, though, not a bad series, very enjoyable. I cannot wait to get some more Iron Man. I know it's hard right now for an Iron Man fan. The books that we're getting just aren't big, they're not long lasting. Hopefully someone comes along and can just write the most absolutely astounding Iron Man book so that it sticks around for quite a while. I mean, hell, at this point, put Jonathan Hickman on Iron Man. That's why you guarantee that you're gonna get a fleshed out story. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you would like to get caught up on everything going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It'll get you caught up on all 10 issues that have come out. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers. From $1 to $50 from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.